Good evening, everyone. Maybe some of you, most of them, it's good evening for you. That's good. And I'm Kiran Kumar Chereddy, Marie Curie Fellow, and I'm an active member of a PhD network, EMA, and also a professional development team. That's how I came with Rolf here, and here we are today to talk about proposal writing for Marie Curie Individual Fellowships. And here is my email ID. If you have any further questions, just feel free to email me after or whenever you have some questions about this. Today, mainly before talking about all this proposal writing or so, I'd like to really advise you to remember, always keep in your mind that there is a national contact point in all the countries of European Union and also some of the associate members of the European Union for Marie Curie national contact points. If you have any doubts regarding eligibility or any application help or any results discussion or contractual issues or financial issues, salary problems, even after getting the grant or anything, just feel free to contact national contact points, which are really helping the Marie Curie applicants and also the grantees. Okay, this is a very important point before starting the proposal writing, because you may have different questions in different scenarios depending on eligibility. Okay, I stayed 12 months or 11 and a half months or nearly 12 months, something like that. I have stayed here in the country where I'm going to apply, something like that. Still, these kind of small questions but tricky, but really can influence the proposal or an evaluation process that you can always ask them, this national contact points in every country, okay, in all the countries. That's good. Moving on, just to explain the what are the sections in this talk today as a policy background and description of actions. What I felt is, without knowing the background and the aims and mottos of these Marie Curie actions, we can't write a perfect proposal. Why? You'll understand in a few minutes. It's very important to understand the aims of the European Commission before writing the proposal. It's as equal as your science and innovation. Okay, that's why I just put the policy background and description of the actions in the front line. And then we talk about submission and evaluation of proposals. And again, we finally end up with hints and tips in each section of the proposal having different sections, and then hints and tips coming from different sections. We're going to deal individually, case by case. And this first policy background, as you all might have already heard that this one, Marie Curie Actions is now present under, coming under Horizon 2020, which is a current program of European Union to support European research and also to attract incoming and outgoing researchers into the European research area. And also this brings the complementary with other EC programs like competitiveness, innovation, education and training, and structural funds distribution among the research areas. And is, of course, very active in all the member states, including the new member state of the European Union, Croatia, and also many other associate countries of FP7 Framework Program 7. It's Albania, Iceland, etc. Goes with Turkey, till Turkey, they have all the associate countries. And you treat them as associate countries and the main countries as the European member states. And we have also the other states, which we call third country. Apart from these countries, all other remaining countries are third countries. And the main, speaking about the context of Marie Curie actions, what are the objectives and policy context? It's like to make Europe more attractive for the researchers, mainly in the domain of research in all the other fields, like considering science, chemistry, biotechnology, nanomedicine, humanities, sciences, engineering, etc. All the research fields coming under this domain of Marie Curie actions. Structuring effect on the European research area through translational and intersectorial mobility. This is the main aim of European Commission coming up in this Horizon 2020, means transnational and also intersectorial mobility. Means there should be a participation of different sectors, public, private sectors, mandatory. Whatever you write proposal, you should have a partner coming from private sector. Okay, this is very important. And also transnational mobility and intersectoral issues. These two play an important role for the research proposal in Marie Curie actions. And also strengthen human potential by encouraging people to become researchers. As I told you before, encouraging researchers to carry out the research in Europe, particularly, and taking this as their profession. professional career. That's a very important point. Moving on, the principles behind the Marie Curie actions. Whatever Marie Curie actions you see, it's never be a kind of job or something. It's always a training program. At whatever you have the stage, for example, early stage, we have a PhD, and experienced researchers, postdoc, or individual fellowships, it's always a training program. Keep it in your mind, it's always a training program. Never it should be a fund to carry out your research or to support your research. They have some other programs called co-fund and so on for these kind of issues. But if you want to write an individual fellowship, think that it's a training proposal. That means you are only 70% qualified for the proposal, and 30% should be the new ideas. That should be the training for you. And you should foresee all the training activities, whatever you need during this proposal, you should put in the proposal. That's why I'm again repeating, it's a training proposal. 70% you are fit and 30% you want to learn. That's it. And skills and competence development at all stages of research career. Open to research careers addressed under the treaty plus possibility of targeted costs. And a very important point, strong participation from enterprises. This comes under again intersectorial issues, intersectorial participation, inappropriate gender and work-life balance. It's also very important to make women in science and gender balance. That's why whenever you write any proposal coming from any female candidates, you should always put in your proposal that there should be a gender balancing or female researcher guardianship for you. For example, if your professor is a male, a host is a male professor, you should always have a female professor as a gender balancing or kind of management people who are kind of experts in this gender issues, gender distinction, discrimination issues, all these things. In order to report these kind of issues, you should always keep a name of female professor in the proposal to, in order to kind of balance these things. For example, if you have any problem, you should have someone to report these things. And this, for that, you foresee some problems. I hope not, but you should have a professor name or any ombudsman name in your proposal to help you in these kind of issues. And good environment, and also again, transparent recruitment, career development, all these are principles of Marie Curie actions. And this is a kind of central dogma of transcription, what we call, or translation, mRNA transcription. It's kind of central principles of Marie Curie projects. First, the researcher, it's always training and mobility. Again, I'm insisting training and mobility. This is very important because whenever you see a Marie Curie actions, it's mainly concerned about these individual fellowships. It's the main topic comes up is experience stipulated for the action. That means first, how much experience you have. You should have 4 years of experience in research, or you should have a PhD. That means it based on your experience, how much experience you have. It's one of the criteria. And also transnational mobility, which is the main requirement for the action. These two are the essential and mandatory, just like intersectorial participation. Okay, and for this up to 8 slides. This one, it ends with the main principles, ideas, policy ideas, and main objectives of Marie Curie actions. So far, you have any doubt? Any doubt? Just if you have any questions, just feel free to ask, because I divided the presentation in separate sections, like first objectives, and then we go with the proposal and evaluation, and then tips, something like that. So far, you have any questions? Yes? No? Okay. If you don't have no, perfect. Good. And we move on to the real proposal. Then, so far you understood the ideas, and then we move on to the fellowships. We have 2 fellowships in Marie Curie actions, individual fellowships. One is European fellowship, and the other one is global fellowship. Who wants to, the people who, researchers who wants to work in Europe are called European fellowships, and those people who want to go out from Europe, they are called global fellowships. The main criteria behind them is that European fellowships are incoming, any national, coming from any member state or any third national, and the only condition is they should not stay in the host country where they're applying 12 months in the last 3 years. They reduced it. Before it's 5 years, now it's reduced to 3 years. And the project should be at least, the idea should be 12 to 24 months, as always. Maximum limit is 24 months. And resuming a career in research is also possible. For example, have been working in an industry and you want to resume your career in research, then it's also possible to write for this application proposals. And also skills diversification and professional independence. It's also possible. It's for this, these funds will help for you to achieve these kind of goals. Whereas a global fellowship, you are moving from Europe to outside third countries. Okay, that's very important. That means about whom I'm talking about this global fellowship. It means first European member state citizens, and also the persons who are not citizens of European Union but have been working here for the last 5 years in research. They also equivalent to European citizens. That means they're mixed up, they're mingled with European citizens. That means the same rules apply for these people. Okay, and these projects can vary from 24 to 36 months, of which 12 months should be spent in Europe, and the remaining period, if it is 36 months, 24 months outside. If it is 24 months, 12 months here and 12 months outside. Okay, it's mandatory 12 months period stay in Europe. That's only thing, mandatory return phase of 1 year. Okay, everything will be the same. And proposal submission for the current year of Horizon 2020 to 2014 is still available. The proposal is still online, and you can still submit your proposals within the deadline of September 9th. I guess September 9th, 19th, something like that. And all submissions should be done online, and contact the European Commission if you have any reasons in specific national contact points. And very important, meet the deadline, because it automatically closes according to the Brussels Central European time. Okay, that's very important. And how it goes. Okay, European Commission announces application. Okay, this is a call for the Marie Curie actions, and then you submit your proposal. It goes for evaluation, and the notification of results. You sign the contract after 8 months. That's very important. Okay, if you apply this year, the deadline is September 9 or 19. Let's say in September, and the evaluation takes at least 6 months. Or notification of results will be within 6 months. And you are going to sign your contract next June, and you're going to start your work immediately after that. Let's say September of next year or so. Okay, contract negotiation, and then contract signature and project start. This is a process, a schematic representation of process of this Marie Curie Individual Fellowships. In specifically what happens. If you sent your proposal, first it goes for eligibility check. Eligibility means what? If you have stayed in your host country where you're applying for your, as a host, for example, you want to do your individual fellowship research, if you have stayed there 12 months, more than 12 months in the last 3 years, you're not eligible. Okay, and then they also check that whether your host is a registered host to host you as a researcher. For example, you can't put an SME, like a small or medium-scale enterprise, as a host. It should be always an academic host supported by co-hosts like SME. Enterprise, entrepreneur, some industry, small-scale industry, but you can't work in a small-scale industry. If you want to put a small-scale industry as a host, you should always have a supervisor from an academic host, academic field. Okay, that's why that's how they check the eligibility, all the criteria. If you fulfill all the eligibility criteria, it goes for individual evaluation. Like any ethical issues, consensus, they check for the ethical issues principally. Because you cannot write beyond your proposals without any ethical issues. Okay, if you want to work on animals, you should also attach the ethical clearance beforehand. That's how it means they check everything. If you want to do trials, clinical trials or preclinical trials, you should always attach the ethical clearance from the host university beforehand. And also consensus they discuss, and they discuss on the thresholds and evaluate on this individual sections of the proposal, and they find the threshold. If it passes, it goes on. If not, it's rejected. 70% is a threshold. Once your proposal got about 70%, then it goes for the ranking of the particular country. For example, your host university is in Belgium. Then when it reaches a threshold, your application will be passed to Belgium, and within Belgium, you have an individual panel of, let's say you're from mathematics. The panel goes to mathematics panel. The applicate proposal goes to a mathematical panel, and they evaluate your proposal, and then it starts. If it is yes, it goes further for negotiation, how much you need and how much they contribute, something like that. If it is yes, it goes for commission funding decision, final funding decision. If it is no, it will be rejected. And this is a basic process going behind the screen for once you submit your proposal. This is the real talk about of today's talk with Marie Curie Actions proposal. What are the tips and what are the sections involved? You can get all this information, of course, from European Commission website and Marie Curie Action website. But today we are going in deep into each section. What could be a positive aspects you could think, and what could be negative in each section. For example, part B is the main part a researcher or everyone could always think about. This is a scientific section. And part A is about more administrative and your personal details, okay? Part B is only about the science and technology, which really influences your funding. That's why it's, again, only 10 pages. That's why it's a start page count, and stop page count. It's only 10 pages. In between these summary, excellence, impact, implementation should be 10 pages. And after that, it's have no length. CV maximum 3 pages, I guess. Yes, 3 pages, and capacities and all these things. And annexures can go to on the oceans. You can attach as many as you want. The main 1 to 4 should be 10 pages. That's the limit. Okay, you can get this one from any Marie Curie Action student guide, everything. Okay, that's what is simplified again back to part B, which addresses all the sections of 10 pages and may vary according to Marie Curie Actions. For example, global fellowships have a different part B, and whereas European fellowships have a different part B. Let's just keep on thinking about this. What you have are eligible, and what are these conditions meant for each fellowship. And then having a different weights and thresholds, of course, they have individually different thresholds and different kind of weighings. Like, for example, in which one fellowship it may weigh 70% and the other it may weigh 50%. That's why. And the mainly consists of cover page, table of contents, science and technology, quality, and then transfer, and so on, so on, so on. And we are going to see individually each section by section. The evaluation process is main. The test score, total score is for 100%. Let's say, but threshold is 70%. And some of the subsections have criteria, but some they don't have. As an individual score, they will count for the whole percent. And you must focus on the objectives of the activity to be successful. That's very, very important. Okay, each area is weighed. There is no kind of, you can't leave anything. It's everything will be weighed. Everything will be scored. First, in order to go ahead, just remember the European Charter and Code. First, you should address this Charter and Code addresses the responsibilities and rules and roles of the researchers, and they're also their employer and employee rules and regulations about these funding organizations. And the very, very important thing is it also gives regulations for the transparent evaluation to the evaluators, not only to researchers how to propose, but also the evaluators how to evaluate transparently. That's all about European Charter and Code. To emphasize again, you are not writing your idea, you are just putting your idea in a project way which matches European Commission objectives. That's very important. You are not writing completely your ideas and your presentation. That's just an idea of you putting in a proposal way about the Commission objectives. That's it. Always meet the Commission objectives, then the project will be for sure successful. This is a new format of individual fellowship, like Marie Skłodowska-Curie Individual Fellowship, and it is excellence, impact, and implementation, which pays 50%, 30%, and 20% respectively. Nevertheless, these are the creative words they have used newly to elaborate the expectations in the proposal. Okay, it's nothing changed in the past and the current proposals, nothing changed. They have introduced a kind of new or innovative words, that's it. Okay, and all these words will be simplified in the next slides. That's what we are going to see. Okay, we start with excellence, which will be subdivided according to the past proposals, which will be subdivided into science and technology, which is the quality of the science and technology, what you write, real science. And training and knowledge transfer, that's what, again, I'm emphasizing that it's a training proposal. You should also write what kind of training you are going to take here and how could be the knowledge will be transferred among the intersectorial issues, association and institutions like private and public sectors, etc. It also adds up with researcher and finally ends up with implementation impact. Nothing will be changed among these things. Overall threshold 70%. First one, science and quality. What you're going to write in the science and quality? I'm sure that you're going to put your valuable scientific and proposals, innovation and everything. Including that, you should also emphasize that what is interdisciplinary attitude behind the science? Is there any multidisciplinary aspects involving in that? Yes. If yes, you should again put this, what is this idea hidden inside? What is the idea going back in this? What is interdisciplinary? Which kind of disciplines will be covered in this proposal? And that's how you just justify that this is an interdisciplinary. That's very important. If you want to write research methodologies, of course, you write research methodologies, the technique with which you are going to measure the some measurements, some quantify or qualify some measurements. Yet you need to put in brackets in which university the facility is available. Be precise and be sharp and be straightforward. That's very important. And also originality and innovative nature of the project, and also state of the art technologies available in each institution, and that will help your project to go ahead. Very important, put timelines, very important timelines and relevance of the project. If you want to do 24 months project, you could frame a table where, like first, you divide the project into subsections, and then you foresee how many months will be taken for this each section. First section, 4 months, second section, 5 months, and first month to 6 months, 7 months to 9 months. It's for sure you should maintain the timelines, which gives a good impact that he knows the proposer, he or she knows what time, how much time, or at what extent she will be there at each time point. And also host expertise in this particular field. That's very important, of course, and the quality of the group and also supervisors. For example, even though you have a best supervisor, it's always good to have 2 or 3 co-supervisors or helping hands in the same group. That's how it works, actually. That's how even the European Commission likes. They really like if we have 2 to 3 other senior supervisors or co-supervisors in the same institute also. For example, it's interdisciplinary project already. And then we follow the training. What is the training behind this? Yes, absolutely. You are a qualified person and you're applying for this individual fellowship and you are 70% qualified and you foresee 30% of training. How you're going to mention this training in your proposal? You could write a workshop. You could foresee a workshop somewhere happening in the world that really helps your training attitude, training skills, your complementary skills, that really helps to write best papers or maybe best instrumental handling techniques or in-depth knowledge of the field. That's it. All this comes under the training, workshops or summer schools, or you can go for some industrial training sessions. All this comes under the training, which are quite or very relevant to your proposal or your research field. That's very important. Relevance and quality of the additional scientific training and complementary skills offered. You can take a training session in PowerPoint management or delivering skills or any other soft skills or any training technical skills that helps for your proposal or project. They should be mentioned in the training section. That's how you will be clear about this section. That means you're 70% qualified, as I mentioned from the beginning, 30% coming from the training. Host expertise in training, experienced researchers in this field. How many, for example, your group should have 3 or 4 postdocs, which tells that your supervisor is able to handle experienced researchers. That's very important. This also shows that your professor is capable of hosting you at your university or in an academic institution. And again, transfer of knowledge. This transfer of knowledge is very important because Europe is investing on you and Europe expects something from you, of course. Then it's potential of transferring knowledge of European host and or bringing knowledge to Europe, okay? If you're coming from any outside European country, Europe expects a lot from you. You need to give your skills and you gain skills from the hosting institution as well as you give your technology to the host. That's how it happens. And that means you form collaborations, You are responsible for organizing a project. You are responsible for publishing a group papers. Then it's best. It's a transfer of knowledge. You introduce new techniques, you introduce new methodologies, that's perfect. Whatever you are introducing or which are not found in the host institution, this all comes under this transfer of knowledge. That's really highlights you and presents you as a potential candidate already, okay? And also clarity and quality of transfer of knowledge, as I said in the objectives. It's already mentioned in this, Europe expects from you a lot, okay? And then your training, your first section is good. And what could be positive feedback? What could evaluators think about your proposal? If it is good, if it is really good, they say that, okay, clear assignment of scientists responsible for the training. Yes, there is a clear assignment. You know what to do and you know what to give to your technicians and everything. And training courses specially designed for postdoctoral fellows. Yes, if you write something for early stage training people, that doesn't count. You should write advanced trainings, everything advanced for postdoctoral research fellows. That counts, okay? And research training objectives are clearly identified and described. Whatever you want to learn, whatever you know what you want to learn, you know where you want to go, you know where you want to attend a workshop. That's very clear and identified and described. That's what it meant. If it is the proposal, the training is good, the section, they write this kind of thing. They try to identify these kind of issues. Both participants will benefit from the mutual collaboration. That means you say that I'm going to learn these techniques from the host, whereas I'm going to give all these kind of methodologies and protocols to the host. That's it. It's a mutual symbiosis. Perfect. Moving on. What could be negative feedback? If you write the bad things or something is missing or something is extrapolated or something in these issues, the feedback could be negative. And what could be the negative feedback? A research project with no training element. Some people just present as a Superman or supernatural power or cosmic power to the project. No, it's not possible. Everybody should be trained and everybody should learn, keep on learning. As I told you, it's a training fellowship for sure. That's why if you don't write any training element, it's not considered. It's not a good proposal at all. And the host exerts skills without presenting convincing evidence of competence. See, as such, if you say that, okay, my host is having all these technologies, but you should also give evidential proof that, okay, with that experiments and with those methodologies, they have already published a good paper in some good journal. That's evident that they have did all this work in their area using that methodologies. That's very important. Okay, that's how you need to justify whatever you write. Just to ensure that you have given enough justification and proofs, you need to put all these things in footnotes. Okay, what are the major publications in the research area using those methodologies? And the range of techniques described would clearly be valuable to the researcher, but the lack of detailed description does not inspire confidence in the quality of training available. That's what I said before. Whatever you put training, you also need to put what are the methodologies or are these methodologies available in the particular host or not. Okay, this could be a negative feedback. They write these kind of specific sentences for your proposal in the evaluation. And the section of researcher in the first part of excellence. First, your research experience counts in the specific area, not as a broad, okay? That's how you need to, if you want to write a proposal, check with your research background. Is it really aptly applicable or it's more or less? That's it, okay? And also you have to present enough justification like publications or presentations or any patents, teaching experience, etc. It's mandatory, of course, is one of the desirable qualities of any researcher, the independent thinking and leadership qualities. Don't write these kind of sentences like in CV or in a resume, but you need to justify everything. You need to give enough justification for everything. Whatever you write, independent thinking, what is a proof? Write anything, okay? For example, you supervise 2 or 3 PhD students or 2 or 3 master students. That's it. It's independent thinking. You come up with a new idea, innovative idea. That's it. It's one of the examples for independent thinking and leadership qualities. You should write with justification and enough examples and match between the fellow's profile and research. As I said before, whether it's aptly matching or not. And for individual fellowships, the main idea pushing towards this is you want to settle in research career. Means you have to prove that what you're going to see after 5 years yourself, like what how you're going to see yourself in 5 to 10 years. That's how it gives the impression that you want to settle or how you want to foresee yourself in a professional career. This gives the answer for the last point of professional potential for research, reaching a position of professional maturity. Okay, this is very important. And moving on to the next section, researcher tips. How you're, as I told you, how you're gonna mention as you're the best candidate or a potential candidate. You write your work experience very nicely. You elaborate that. Of course, you should remember that it's all coming in 10 pages, okay? And also you're going to add your CV. That means you put very important points precisely with in brackets best example, how you're going to describe the quality, as I said, industrial experience, expertise, which really helps because individual fellowship is in between intersectorial institutions. If you have already a good industrial experience or internship experience or any 4 months or 5 months visits, that really counts. That really counts. And also transferable skills, prizes, awards, lectures, etc., all these things, and give evidence of statements. If you put something, you attach as an annexure. For example, if you did 4 months industrial training, attach a letter from the industry that what you have did in the industry. Okay, give evidence of statements. Always evidence is very important. And moreover, all these kinds of qualities like independent thinking, leadership qualities also will be can be supported by referee assessments. You can put some recommendation letters from your professor, from your observer, or from any colleague who had really worked with you and also who really involved in your research. Okay, that's all. This all counts for you, presenting you as a potential candidate personally. Okay, your science and technology, all these things matters in science and transfer of knowledge and also research. All these comes under the main section of excellence. Okay, and we are moving forward. And what could be positive feedback? If you, what they really see in your CV, it's a clear evidence of research experience and potential. As I said before, clear evidence of leadership qualities, supervising and leading some small groups on a particular project, which really shows that you are a good leader, of course. And then potential to acquire new knowledge is high. This comes from your reference letter or elaborating what are the techniques you learned very fastly to achieve a particular project in your past research. And good references, as I said before, and clear list of prizes, awards, lectures. They say like, okay, everything is so clear. Everything is so mentioned very clearly in the proposal. That's fine. What could be negative feedback? As I said before, CV lacks data on record. For example, you write in a proposal like, okay, you had a good experience with the collaboration of GSK or Pfizer or any other industry, but you missed that point in your CV. It means you missed something on record. CV is everything. CV is the record that shows everything what you have done. That's it. Okay. And if you have limited experience in, as has only been at one university, it's also a problem because individual fellowship encourages transnational mobility. That's the main principle, one of the main principles behind Marie Curie actions. Prove that you moved around. You want to move around. You want to gain interdisciplinary knowledge, intercultural experiences, and limited experience of technical skills related to the project. If you want to write a project, whatever you write methodologies, you need to write at least, you should fill at least 70% the competences and the skills. References were similar and from same institution. It is also very important that references should come from different areas. For example, if you work in an industry, bring one reference from industry, one from academic institution, one from other collaborator. All this counts actually. Maximum 3 would be sufficient, really sufficient. That's perfect, good. And before moving on to implementation section, so far you have any questions in the main section of excellence? Any questions about the tips or any questions about the subsections? Okay, you have a question. Yes. Any other having any questions? Okay, many questions. Come up with questions. Yes, Paras, you can ask. Okay. Actually, there will be many other things just for experienced researchers. It's one of the main conditions is that you should have at least 4 years of experience, not more than 4 years, and not less than actually, not less than 10 years, and not more than not more than 10 years, and not less than 4 years. Yes, it's a 4 to 10 years, or you should have a PhD. That's the condition. It's that's it. It's no with that case. Yes, of course. Most of the people will do PhD in one university, but you should visit other universities or collaborators for small 2 months or 1 month kind of internships or any collaborations. It gives good impact on that. It means you already started one of the main principle in the Marie Curie actions. Annexures, no restriction. You can add as many as you want. Just the 1 to 4 section is 10 pages. They only consider these kind of things for evaluation. All the other things are supporting documents, including your CV. Including your CV is a supporting document. Uh, with global fellowships, yes, of course. If you want to do, the main rule for global fellowships is that you should spend 12 months in Europe. And that 12 months could be anywhere, either an industry or a academic host. But if you want to do an industry, for sure you should have an academic host as a supervisor. Um, Marie Curie, this topic of discussion is about individual fellowships, which are postdocs. And you can still apply as a master student for Marie Curie Actions as a PhD, which come in your access website. Your access, maybe you can your access. Just Google your access jobs, and you'll find these things in all the PhDs also in Marie Curie. But for that, you don't need to write a proposal actually. Mhm. Yes, of course, Elena. You can apply for the European. It's not. It doesn't matter for citizenship. It mainly matters for the project idea. This main host. Where is your host? If you not have been here for in the last 3 years in the host, for example, let's say Germany, you're applying for the individual fellowship, you should not stay in Germany for 12 months in the last 3 years. That's it. If you fulfill that, that's fine. You can apply. Yes, the host of the project should not be in Germany. That's an example. Okay, if of course that should be in Europe. For example, the 12 months mandatory rule, as I said before, move on. If it is the 12 months in Europe, it should be in European industry. Yes. Of course, your Mr. is your PhD supervisor is one of the best ideal candidate to refer you, to write a reference letter for you. That means he or she is the first priority. That's it. Otherwise, if you, I feel that he's the best candidate for in the first instance, and then followed by any other people like the collaborators or any industrial partners or any other people. PhD supervisor is the best candidate first. Yes. Yes. Any other questions? If not, we can move so that we can follow the schedule. Okay. Now the implementation section. Okay, you write everything, the science and methodologies and everything. Then it counts how you're going to implement it. It means you're going to prove that the host institution is having all the infrastructural facilities or international collaborations. What you're going to do, everything, they already have it. That's it. It proves that the host can accommodate you, that can put his best part to achieve the goal of the project. Okay, that means you need to prove everything that your host is having all the infrastructure and everything. Practical arrangements for implementation and management of scientific projects. If you find some secretary or someone, your professor secretary, who is also involved in the management activities of the project, it's fantastic. It means your management is already done by, you arrange someone to manage your project. That's okay. Feasibility and credibility of the project, that's very important, and means you write your, for example, you synthesize some materials and you want to characterize them with a special machine in the USA just for characterization of 2 weeks, and then you want to continue your cellular studies or in vivo or in vitro or any other studies back at your host. This is not feasible. This is not actually a feasible idea to take your particles or materials to USA and come back, right? It's not feasible. These kind of special situations, try to avoid this kind of, taking long voyages or at least long journeys to do a simple experiment and then come back and continue. No, it's not possible. It's not a feasible idea. That's how it matters. And then these kind of things really influences the proposal. And also, for the implementation section, divide the project into work packages or subsections. Okay, work package 1, or you can say major section 1, major section 2, major section 3, something like that, which shows that your project is having sections, really clearly divided sections. These things really helps to the evaluators to follow the proposal. Otherwise, it's clumsy and it's very complex to understand. If you put a flow chart, fantastic. If you put any other pictorial representation, fantastic. If you put in tabular format, awesome. That's it. Make it simpler, make it visible, and make it clearly understandable. That's it. But don't forget to put all the practical and administrative arrangements also. That's what I said. If you find a secretary or someone to manage your documents and everything, that's also really saves lots of time for you, which really helps in filing so many documents, ethical clearances and everything. That means you already planned for the implementation section. This accounts for 30%, very important, okay? And also remember that, as I already told you, these are the questions you need to put in your mind for writing this implementation section. Does your host can hold you, can accommodate you with all the required infrastructure or not? Or if project is implemented in practice, in reality world, is it possible or not? Or what support is the host institution providing to the fellow? For example, any language courses or settling, for example, finding the home facilities or any other local facilities. All this counts actually. All this comes under the implementation section. You settle down nicely and you started the project peacefully and you ended up excellently. That's what they foresee for this project. And again, to repeat, work packages, deliverables means what kind of things you want to deliver in each work package. The main idea that should come, the outcomes of each work package are called deliverables. You should milestones. What kind of achievements when you want to clap or say hoo-hoo at each work package, those are called milestones. These are all the specific language of Marie Curie actions. Secondments or the small exchanges between other collaborators and you. These are called the small exchanges are called secondments. You should also foresee at which time you want to do these secondments and which kind of experiments you want to do there. And project and risk management and intellectual property rights. Very important. Risk management. For example, if something happens with you and your professor, and you're not talking with each other, or something really bad happened and you're not at all working, you're not about comfortable with her, what happens? Is the project fails? Is the project money goes back? Does the project money go back? No, it's not possible. That's what we call risk management. It means you always have a second option as a supervisor or supervisory board with comprising of 3 or 4 professors coming from different countries, who are really kind of experts in that area. Or if you face any problem, when something is not working with your project, what happens? There should be a scientific advisory board to advise you and to direct you. This all comes under risk management. And the intellectual property rights, how you're going to protect your work, how you're going to save everything. Means whether your university is having any intellectual property right management, or you are still depending on the European Commission's IPR desk in Brussels or any national contact point, etc. You need to mention them clearly, how you're going to protect this, your work, etc. Okay. And then impact. This is also very important. Most of the people put kind of 1 page or 1/4 page or 3/4 page on this, but I strictly advise to go for 1.5 page. This is because impact. how this project is going to impact you first as personally as a researcher, how this improve your career graph, or how is going to improve your skills, amount of skills, transferable skills, soft skills, intercultural exposures, all these counts for this impact. And in turn, how this is going to impact the host, what you're going to give your host, and what you're going to give society, to the industry, job market, European competitiveness, everything, all this comes under impact. Contribution to the career development, as I said, contribution to European excellence and European competitiveness. If you give something great to the Europe, for example, let's say in nuclear or any medical field, that means Europe is holding that power of producing the new technology. It means you are improving the European competitiveness. It means you are contributing to the European prestige. That's what they see till the end. It's not only the small circle is not only holding you, not only your society, but also Europe. Okay? Think large, all these things. And then simply contribution to the socio-economic development of the developing countries or emerging countries or any transition economies by transfer knowledge and human capacity building wherever appropriate, whether you write global fellowships or incoming fellowships like European fellowships, everything should be increase the competitiveness of Europe in all the sectors of socio-economic development. Okay. Moving on to the general conclusions, like, for example, what is the overall score or success rate of these proposals? What is the budget allotted or distributed for the evaluation panel? Everything, all this, and also, however, the exact number of proposals funded will depend on outcomes and negotiations between the panels. Means, first point, overall success rate. For the moment, they said so far it's intra-European fellowship or intra-outgoing or incoming. All these are the different names before they existed for Marie Curie Actions individual fellowships. Now they all clubbed into individual fellowships like European and global. That's the two types. The success rate was 38% before, but now due to the heavy competition and the really streamlined funding, it's going to be reduced even at least to 10 to 17% as of now, coming from the statistics. And also proposal budget allocation depends on the negotiation between the panels. Okay, how many proposals, the best proposals you got mathematics panel, and how many best proposals for science and technology, they negotiate, and if the best proposals are coming from this, they allot more budget to this. If the best proposals coming from that direction, they negotiate and they think that how these proposals are going to impact the European economic situation, they allot this kind of funding. It's never be constant, it's keep on changing everything. That's why whenever you write the proposal, first work out with your host supervisor and keep the guide for applicants in front of you all the time, and treat the criteria as the examination questions, okay? And if you have anything, first brainstorm about that, and then focus on each section for the time limit, and then plan for your proposal. Everything should be precise, concise, and according to the point. That's it. Sometimes, as I said, I have repeated many things in many sections, the same things. For example, infrastructure, transnational mobility, blah, 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 everything in all the sections. That's how you feel that, am I repeating the same things? Yes, you are repeating. But you're writing the same answer in a different angle. That's it. Same questions in different angles to know how this is going to help you, to know how this is going to lead to your professional career. That's how there are the same questions in different answers. That's it. My suggestion is to clearly address the main objectives, use clear and concise language. If you're writing a Belgian proposal, let's say, use the country-specific technologies, country-specific knowledges, country-specific environments. And for example, you have Brussels, you can write, we have a European Commission help desk here. Just learn the terminology of the country. What are the facilities in the country from the European side, Union side, or from the other sources from your university? Okay, and also find good colleagues of you or friends of you to read it with a fresh brain. Okay, if you constantly reading the same proposal, you can't even see the spelling mistakes. Give it to your friends, because it's like very huge proposal of 10 pages with lots of annexes. You can just give them to one of your best trusted friends and they'll help you. Finally, just to tell you, if you write some of the things, at what percentage you are, just to sum up, first meet the deadline. And if you write a well-detailed, excellent, and clear training program with a very good science, to the European scale with a European-wide benefit, and it's a potential in a new area to create job market, you will be above 90%. At the same time, I put different kind of it's a ranking. If you have this kind of qualities like good project, lacking some detail on training, etc., evaluating output, and perhaps clashes with existing programs already, it's 80 to 90%. It's not so new. Actually, it's a good project. It's an extension or extrapolation, but it's not so innovative. Then it will be 80 to 90%. Then go on with the 70 to 80%, which score something even less. Maybe obvious omissions or consortium design needs better adjustments, and some other science issues are not addressed, or you miss some points like what I said before, timelines or any unforeseen secondments or any concerns over transfers of knowledge, etc. These three parts are the past above 70%, and those who were below 70% have serious omissions or lack of detail or poor management, anything. That's how it works, and this all the main criteria in the subsections of each things. Put everything, all the things. For example, if you want to write implement impact section, in the impact section, as I said before, how it's going to impact you personally, how it's going to impact the host, how it's going to impact the European community, and also the upcoming generation. That's also very important. Okay, how are you going to influence the upcoming generation? For example, in the impact or implementation section, both are very linked and clubbed with each other most of the times. You can write outreach activities like active participation or encouraging school children towards the nanoscience or science work. It's one of the contribution to the European community, what you're doing. It means you find a school, or you had already a chat with the school principal, you are writing something common with to show some miracles or science miracles to the students to attract them to the science community. This is how you're contributing to the European science community. That means you're bringing more researchers into the science. This is one of the idea of the outreach activity, and this gives really good impact on your proposal. And that's how in all the sections what I meant. Maybe I hope that I have covered most of the tips and suggestions. And maybe there could be a series of other suggestions coming up. When you start writing this proposal, you get lots and tons of questions, and everything will be answered and somewhere in the internet, or if you post me a question, I'll really try to answer your questions. And if you have currently questions, we have 5 more minutes to answer. Okay, if you have any questions, go ahead. Thank you. Any questions? Okay. Yes, this presentation will be in Professional Development Team PD Team YouTube channel, and also yes, and also available in the PD Team website. Yes, and it's okay. What you're going to give back to European community? Okay, first point is your technology is going to create a new job market or any other employment in the European Union. That's very important. Or is gonna give any new technology contribution to produce medicine or any energy resources, renewable energies, anything that's going to impact one sector, one or the other sector of European Union. And the second one, if you organize some activities, you can bring, as I said, in a school activities or any outreach activities, is going to bring some more new researchers, attracting new researchers from their childhood. And then, the third point, like for example, you represent somewhere in a job expo in Japan or somewhere representing your project, which has been done in Europe or something. It's very good that you want to present your work in Japan Industrial Expo. It means you are presenting not you actually, your European host that is doing this work. It means through this individual fellowship, you want to present your work in Industrial Expo and represent Europe, which may bring huge opportunities or something back to European Union. All these counts, all these small things count. Then you keep on searching for the outreach activities. You find different things actually. All this counts for European Commission. actually. Yes. Any other questions? Okay. Okay. If that's not the case, maybe I can put my email ID again here. It's emma.chereddy@gmail.com. If you have any questions or need any help or any suggestion, just feel free to send me an email. Okay, I'll try to answer as soon as possible. And if there are no other questions, Ali, thanks. Oh, thank you. Happy Independence Day. And any other questions? No. And then, okay, have fun, guys. And I hope this really helped you. Okay, all the best for your future endeavors. Good luck. Bye bye. Take care. I'm going to sign off. Okay, bye bye.